Welcome back to Mighty Habits, everyone. It's great to have you here.
And I'm Mary.
I'm Stephen, and we are so excited for today's deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about Staying Coachable by Sean Glaze.
So what is this book all about?
So Staying Coachable, it's all about how to reach those next level heights in your life, both personally and professionally.
Okay, I like that. I like reaching new heights. So what does that even look like?
Well, it's funny you should mention heights,
Oh,
because Glaze actually uses mountain climbing as a metaphor for the whole self-improvement journey.
no way. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this metaphor.
So just like scaling a mountain, personal growth comes with its own challenges and setbacks,
Yeah.
and moments where you might be tempted to just give up and head back to base camp.
Right.
But the key, Glaze argues, is to keep that staying hungry mindset.
Okay, so it's not just about having goals. Then it's about having that drive to keep pushing forward even when things get tough.
You got it.
Okay, I like that.
It's about embracing the fact that there's always room for improvement, always another peak to conquer.
Yeah.
And that requires a willingness to learn to adapt, to kind of course correct, just like a climber adjusts their approach based on the terrain.
That makes a lot of sense. I think we can all relate to hitting those plateaus in life,
Yeah.
whether it's in our careers or relationships or, just our personal development.
Absolutely. And Glaze argues that one of the biggest things that causes those plateaus is complacency. When we get too comfortable, we stop stretching ourselves, we stop seeking out new challenges, and that's when growth kind of stagnates.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So how do we combat that complacency, and cultivate that staying hungry mindset?
That is the million-dollar question. How do we do it?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Glaze introduces this powerful four-step process that's centered around asking yourself these four key questions.
Ooh, I love a good framework.
Yeah.
Okay, lay those questions on me.
Okay, the first question is, what do I want?
Okay.
It seems simple, but it's actually really profound.
I can see that it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and lose sight of our bigger goals and aspirations. What are we actually working towards?
Exactly. And this question forces you to really get clear on what you're striving for, and not just in your career, but in all areas of your life. Do you want to write a book? Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to deepen your relationships? This question is all about setting that internal compass.
Okay, I like that. Getting that direction set first.
So once we figure out what we want, then what?
Yeah, what's next?
Then comes the question, what's working?
Okay.
This is about recognizing your strengths, the resources and strategies that are already propelling you forward.
So it's kind of like taking inventory of your climbing gear, making sure you've got the right equipment and skills to tackle this particular mountain.
I love that analogy. You're catching on quick. It's about identifying what's serving you well so you can leverage it for continued growth.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's easy to get so focused on what we need to improve on
Yeah,
that we forget to acknowledge, what we're already doing well.
for sure. But of course, no climb is without its obstacles.
Right.
And that brings us to the third question. What's not working? This one can be a little bit tougher to swallow.
Yeah.
Because it requires some honest self-reflection.
I imagine it could be tempting to kind of avoid looking at those weaknesses or areas where we're falling short.
Absolutely. But remember, this isn't about beating yourself up,
What?
It's about identifying those roadblocks and detours so you can find ways to navigate around them. Think of it as assessing your climbing route. If a particular path is too treacherous or blocked, you need to be willing to pivot and find an alternate path.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
So we've identified what we want, we've identified what's working and what's not working.
Right.
What's the final piece of this puzzle?
Yeah, what's the final question?
All right, the fourth and final question is, what am I willing to do about it?
Okay, so this is where we shift from analysis to action.
Precisely. It's all well and good to identify your goals, strengths, and weaknesses, but the real magic happens when you make a commitment to actually do something about it.
Right. It's like finally taking that first step onto the mountain, actually putting your boots on the ground and starting the climb.
Exactly. And this question pushes you to consider what sacrifices you're willing to make, what risks you're willing to take, and what actions you're committed to taking to reach that summit.
So this framework is really about moving beyond just the idea of being coachable and actually putting those principles into practice.
Exactly. And that's where Glaze's book, I think, really shines. He doesn't just talk about, the importance of staying coachable.
Yeah.
He provides a really clear roadmap for how to actually cultivate that mindset and put it to work in your life.
This is fascinating stuff. I'm really liking this.
Yeah.
But hold on, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm dying to know more about these 4 questions. I have a
Yeah.
feeling there's a lot more to unpack there.
Oh, you bet there is. And that's exactly where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. We'll be kind of dissecting each question in detail and exploring how you can apply them to your own life to unlock some serious growth.
Sounds good.
Huh.
All right, listeners. We'll be right back to delve deeper into Glaze's powerful 4-step process for staying coachable.
And if you're already feeling inspired to embrace this growth mindset, be sure to check out Staying Coachable by Sean Glaze. It's a game changer for anyone looking to level up their personal and professional game.
And don't forget to subscribe to Mighty Habits for more insightful deep dives like this one. We're here to help you conquer those self-improvement mountains, one episode at a time. We'll see you back here soon. Okay, so we've got our mental crampons all strapped on. Are we ready to tackle these 4 questions from Staying Coachable?
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Where should we begin?
Well, let's start with that first question, the one that lays the foundation for the whole journey. What do I want?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. I remember you saying this one was deceptively simple.
Right.
Well, it's easy to just rattle off those surface level desires, like a bigger house, a promotion, that perfect vacation. But this question goes deeper.
Okay.
It's about unearthing those core values and aspirations that really drive you, at your core.
So it's not just about what we want to acquire, material things. It's about who we want to become as people.
Exactly. Think about it this way. If you're climbing a mountain, the summit might be your ultimate goal. But the journey itself changes. You build resilience, you learn new skills, you overcome challenges. What do I want is about envisioning that transformed version of yourself at the top.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this one question can really set the tone for everything that follows. So once we've got that clarity, on our why, where do we go next?
That's where we shift gears a little bit and ask what's working. And this is about taking stock of your current strengths, the resources, the strategies that have already proven successful for you.
So it's like, analyzing our climbing gear, seeing what's in good shape and ready to help us tackle this challenge.
Exactly. It's about celebrating those wins, acknowledging those aspects of your life that are already aligned with your goals. Maybe you're a fantastic communicator. Maybe you're a master of time management or incredibly resourceful. Recognizing these strengths, it gives you a solid foundation to build on.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's so easy to get caught up focusing on what we need to improve that we forget to acknowledge, what we're already doing well.
Absolutely. But of course, no journey is without its obstacles, right?
Right. Of course not.
And that brings us to the third question, what's not working?
Oh.
This is where we get real with ourselves, and identify those areas where we might be falling short.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is the part where we might need to pull out the metaphorical first aid kit.
Exactly. And just like a climber might need to adjust their route or seek shelter during a storm, we might need to make some adjustments in our own lives. This question encourages us to confront those limiting beliefs, those unproductive habits, maybe even negative thought patterns that might be holding us back.
I can see how this question could be a little uncomfortable for some people, but also incredibly liberating. It's like finally acknowledging that a particular path, that we're on is just too treacherous and being willing to explore a new route.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, this isn't about dwelling on the negative or getting stuck in self-criticism. It's about identifying those areas where we have the potential to grow and improve, those obstacles that we can overcome with a little bit of ingenuity and effort.
Okay, so we've painted a clear picture of where we want to go. We've identified our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
What's the final question that kind of propels us forward?
The question that separates the dreamers from the doers.
Okay, tell me.
What am I willing to do about it?
I like that. Yeah. So it's not enough to just dream about reaching the summit. We've got to actually lace up our boots and start hiking.
This question forces us to get specific about the actions we're willing to take. Are we ready to put in the extra hours? Are we willing to seek out a mentor step outside of our comfort zone?
It's about translating those insights from the previous questions into tangible steps.
Yeah.
Like, if I realize that my fear of public speaking is holding me back, what am I willing to do to overcome it? Join Toastmasters practice in front of the mirror.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of our growth and making that conscious decision to move forward.
I'm really liking this. This is really starting to click for me, these 4 questions.
Yeah.
It creates such a great framework for continuous self-improvement, a way to stay engaged and motivated on the journey.
And that's what staying coachable is all about.
Yeah.
It's not just a passive state of being, it's an active pursuit of growth.
Yeah, I love that. But you mentioned earlier that there's even more to these 4 questions.
Oh, yeah.
I'm eager to hear what else Glaze has to offer.
There's a lot more to unpack. And in the next part of our deep dive, we'll be exploring the nuances of each question, and how you can apply them to your own life to really unlock some serious growth.
I can't wait. But before we go, I have to ask, what are your thoughts on the father-son storyline that runs throughout the book?
Ugh, and it's such a fascinating element. You see, Glaze actually uses their relationship to kind of illustrate the challenges and the rewards of staying coachable. The son, much like many of us, struggles with complacency and resistance to change, while the father kind of embodies that staying hungry mindset.
It sounds like a classic tale of, generational clash,
Yeah.
but with this really powerful self-improvement twist.
Exactly. And what I think is so interesting is that they both end up learning from this unexpected source.
Oh.
Someone outside their family dynamic. And this highlights the fact that coachability isn't just about receiving feedback from those authority figures. It's about being open to learning from everyone.
That's a great reminder. We can find mentors and teachers in the most unexpected places if we're open to it.
Absolutely. And that's actually a perfect segue into our next part.
Okay.
We're going to be diving deeper into those unexpected sources of wisdom and how we can cultivate, that open, receptive mindset that defines true coachability.
That sounds great.
So are you ready to continue on this journey?
Let's do it. Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into staying coachable.
Sounds good.
We've explored, Glaze's powerful 4-step process.
Yeah.
But before we send you off to conquer your own personal Everest, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about those unexpected sources of wisdom you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah. The book really does illustrate this beautifully. Through the father and son's journey, they encounter this seasoned climber.
Yeah.
Who becomes kind of this unexpected mentor, offering guidance and insights that challenge their perspectives.
I like that. That's a great reminder that, coachability, it isn't limited to those formal settings, or those authority figures. We can learn valuable lessons from anyone who is willing to share their experiences and expertise.
Except think about it. You might glean a brilliant marketing strategy from a conversation with a local entrepreneur or, discover a new productivity hack from a colleague in a different department. The key is to just approach every interaction, with a sense of curiosity and an open mind.
So it's not just about, seeking out feedback. It's about actively listening and absorbing different perspectives,
Yeah.
And being willing to learn from anyone who crosses our path.
Totally. It's about recognizing that wisdom can be found in the most unexpected places.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a casual conversation, a book, a podcast, or even just a challenging experience.
This really speaks to, the heart of what it means to be staying coachable, right?
Yeah.
It's about cultivating that, lifelong thirst for knowledge and growth, that willingness to constantly adapt and evolve.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It's about embracing challenges as opportunities, to learn, seeing setbacks as those stepping stones, and approaching every interaction as a chance to expand our understanding.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to kind of bring it back to our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
How can we, in our everyday lives, cultivate this staying coachable mindset? How do we do it?
That's a great question. I think it starts with consciously shifting our perspective, Instead of viewing feedback as criticism, see it as a gift, an opportunity to really improve. Embrace those challenges as a chance to stretch your abilities and seek out those diverse perspectives to broaden your horizons.
And, remember, coachability, it isn't a sign of weakness.
Right.
It's a hallmark of strength. It shows humility, a willingness to learn, and a commitment to continuous growth.
Perfectly said. So as you go out there and embark on your own self-improvement journey, remember that power, of staying coachable. Embrace those 4 questions, seek out those unexpected mentors, and never stop climbing towards your peak potential.
Well said, Mary. And for all of our listeners out there who are ready to take on this challenge, I highly recommend checking out Staying Coachable by Sean Glaze. It's packed with, practical advice, inspiring stories, and actionable strategies to help you level up in every aspect of your life.
Don't forget to subscribe to Mighty Habits for more insightful deep dives into the world of self-improvement. We're here to guide you on your journey, one episode at a time.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those crampons sharp.